Okay. Good afternoon. My name is George Quay. I'm one of the primary developers for the Text4Library solution from Shoutbomb. Shoutbomb provides a text rescue platform for libraries to deliver notice information and other information to their patrons via their cell phones. Wanted to jump right in. The process for us begins with an email. So as a library, you will get a personalized email that your patrons will be using to sign up and to interact with our service. So when we begin, this is a view of the registration process in which all your patrons will have to go through to sign up for the service. So we ask folks that when they tell their patrons about the service, they provide the email. In this case, it would be pls@shoutbomb.com, and that the patrons would save that as a contact. And when they're ready, they would to sign up, and they would create a new text message and assign it to, in this case, PLS. And so we run our solution based on keywords. Hopefully the keywords are meaningful and easy to text in. And here, and obviously the keywords are also configurable. If you decide a particular keyword is not something you would like to use, you can change it. Here we provide sign up. The system reacts to that and makes a request for the user's barcode, and we ask that the patrons usually only provide the information that's absolutely needed to continue a conversation. So here they provide just their barcode, and then we ask for their PIN number. They provide the PIN, and we validate both the barcode and the PIN via your ILS backend system. Once we have the PIN and it's valid, we register them and then provide them with information about the active services that the library has added. In this case, holds, overdue or renews, and the inactive notifications or fees. There's also a possibility of running the sign-up process via a website. Just a simple web form here, providing the language, the carrier, the phone number, 10-digit phone number, and the patron's library card. Once they submit that information, it's then relayed to us, and then we reach out and contact the user's phone. We ask them to provide confirming keyword to ensure that they are aware that they're signing up for the service. Then we process the information in the form. In this case, we process their barcode and ask for their PIN. And once they provide their PIN number, they are now registered. Essentially, the same registration process via purely by cell phone, and then one starting at the web form, but still necessarily generating the registration. So I mentioned the notice types. Patrons can opt in and opt out of the various notices that we deliver, and once again we provide a keyword. In this case, the keywords renew. The patron may make a mistake and send us the keyword renew when they actually wanted to renew the book, but we can inform them of the new status. Now the notification itself has stopped, and how to reverse that. We also do provide a little tip that says, just in case you're aware that actually to renew items you have these keywords, and of course they can reply again and restart the service. There are currently these listed notice types. There are others, but they depend on, the extent in which you want to open up the service to your patrons. So there's renew and courtesy, and the difference between those is the renew and courtesy are all courtesy notices, but one enables you to renew versus the other does not. There's overdue notices, fees, holds, and announcements. Announcements is a way to deliver ad hoc messages to all patrons that have signed up. So if an author is coming into town or there's some special event that you want to provide to your patrons information about, you can write a quick message and send it out, and it'll be delivered to all the registered patrons. Of course, if they see the message, they can opt out and say, no, I don't want to receive any of these kinds of messages. So in the next time, they'll be excluded from that announcement. And at this point, I wanted to give you a chance to play around a little bit yourself. At our website, www.shoutbomb.com, you should see an option on the far right for sign up for notices. You can go ahead and fill out a similar type of web form, and it will trigger a list of notice messages, sample notice messages, with keywords embedded in them. And if you see a keyword, actually try it. Send RI, send RA, and get a feel for how the system responds and interacts with a patron. At this moment, I just want to kind of pause a little bit and ask if anybody has, if anyone has any questions. Just let me know if anybody's typed in anything yet.
Nope.
Okay.
No chats, no questions.
Okay. We'll move along here. So one of the great options we have is the ability for folks, once they get a courtesy renewal notice from us, is the ability to renew that all their items, all their eligible items that the message relayed with just a simple reply with a small keyword RA. So this kind of outlines the steps that are happening from the patron and from us at Shoutbomb. So the patron, once they receive the notice from us, has two choices for a renewal notice, for example. They can send just the keyword RA, which is renew all in short, and we would make an attempt to renew all their items and that were eligible, that were part of the renewal notice itself. And depending on the resulting renewal process, we'll send them a reply message that indicates that these items were renewed and what the new renewal date is, and these items were not renewed, and they need to be returned by. So the initial notice, the renewal attempt by the patron, and then the resulting information, all invoked by RA. RL provides them the ability to list each of the titles and choose from that list to renew. So try and make it short and simple. Wanted to mention some of the news features since starting this year. This is the ability to send closure messages, meaning that during the year the libraries or their branches are closed on specific holidays. You could outline those in one message to us. We would queue all these messages to be delivered to all the patrons, similar to broadcast. Closure is a subset of broadcast messages. So on Martin Luther King's Day, on the 19th, on Monday, they would get a message saying the library is closed. on 4th of July, they would get the message. But you would just have to do this once at the beginning of the year. We also provide a way for you to deliver, closure messages that may be happening outside of the holidays. For instance, there may be a problem with the power at a particular branch. You could also deliver these kinds of closure messages here as well. Closure is one of the new keywords, but we have enabled the platform to deliver messages based on any number of keywords that you guys decided to use. An example would be story time. So, information about registering for story time would be on their website. One of them would be via the keyword text message. If a patron, texts us the keyword story, they would be registered to receive, event notification when story time happens. We would deliver the scheduled notice on a Monday or any day, any time that the event is happening. And of course, you can control, if it's an hour before or day before and such. But the ability for your patrons to register for an event via the text message and be notified via text message is now available. A new feature is we deem a reminder for both renewals and holds. So normally reminders go out, hold notices go out, and that's the last the patron sees of that. And so we've added a feature where we could remind them or provide a second notice. So in the case of renewals, it would be the day of. So you get a notice for items that are due for renewal on Monday, and those items are due on Wednesday, today. But unfortunately, you forgot, something happened, but what would happen is that we would send a message saying, hey, items are due for renewal today. Same keyword, renewal list. So it's another opportunity, kind of a nice way to prompt them that they still have items that haven't been renewed or could be renewed. And of course, for holds as well, you get a hold notice for items to be picked up, you've forgotten, and this reminder goes out to saying, hey, an item that you wanted to pick up is ready, but if you don't, it'll be returned. One of the other newest features is the ability to support patrons that are not able to use our service as it stands, because we require that their phones be able to text to an email address. So some folks, mobile providers, don't allow them to do that, and they're only able to send messages to a phone number. So we've worked, or we're working with a company called Twilio to provide us the ability to integrate our service in such a way that your patrons could use a local number to access our service. You at the library would sign up with Twilio, excuse me, and the cost is basically $1 a month for the phone number and about 3/4 of a penny per inbound and outbound message. So if you think about it, 10,000 messages could be delivered for $75. But honestly, you could begin an active account with as little as $20 with Twilio. Twilio is a pay-as-you-go, so there's no bundling. So if only 100 or 200 messages are delivered in a month, then you are paying 7 cents for all those messages. Well, what's next? We are actually quite excited about the opportunity to work in this area. There were some studies and that looked at the use of text messaging in support of literacy at a school at San Francisco Unified School District and run by Stanford. And looking at their study, we understood what they were trying to do, and we thought we could support a library if they're interested in working with us to actually deliver such a program to their patrons. A simple example would be the summer reading program that most libraries are kicking off basically this month. The patrons would sign up like they would normally sign up, and the library would have kind of motivational messages that they could stage to be delivered during the summer. And then we would also provide reminders to the patrons that for their kids to be reading every day. We also provide the ability for them to log their reading. So if your child, and it could be one or many children in your household, are reading today and they read for an hour, you can send that reading log versus writing it on a piece of paper. And we will hold that information and provide that to the library at the end of the summer. And if there are promotions, prizes and things like that, that could be also announced via text message as well. But we're looking for libraries that are interested in implementing some sort of text messaging in conjunction with their literacy program, summer reading or otherwise, to talk to us. We'd love to get this going. So to the issue of supported ILSs, we support Innovative, Polaris, CRC, and VTLS Virtua. If you don't see your ILS here supported, we would love to work with you to make that happen. And towards that end, as a Khalifa member, we're offering a 40% discount on the licensing for our solution if you work with us to add a new ILS to the list. So integration, what do we need from you as a library to work with us? SIP2 is the basics. We need access to your SIP2 server. And depending on your ILS, it could be the REST services or CGI or Perl scripts. We need a way for us to generate the notice reports. And some, including the Millennium and Horizon, the report generation is on the library side, and so they need to send us those files. And so we need FTP access for the library to send the notice files to us. And last but not least is an optional service that we have developed in which allows us to kind of protect the SIP2 communication between our service and the library. Currently, most, at least ILS providers that we work with, don't provide a secure way to communicate with their SIP2 server. With S-Tunnel, we're able to secure that communication as well. The implementation plan is basically, it says 6 steps here, but once we get past the testing phase, it's kind of all downhill from there. But we have a non-disclosure agreement and an Excel spreadsheet that we would provide to you that you would complete and send back to us. The spreadsheet provides all the customizing entries that you would that we offer and that you could choose from. So step 2 is the system setup. This is access to all those services that we would require in order to make our service work with your library. And then, of course, the implementation of the new account spreadsheet. All the customizing steps, the S-Tunnel configuration if needed be. And then finally, the testing. We provide you with a testing document that you could provide to all your testers. it kind of gives a kind of line by line, what are the items that we have customized and are ready to use, and this is what you need to test for. This is what you should expect to hear back. And the testing phase can go from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. And it's up to you. It's up to you when you become comfortable that the solution is stable and meets your needs. And then, of course, we move to go live and delivering information, your websites, marketing, bookmarks, anything like that you want to deliver. This is the time to prepare that information. So depending on how aggressive you are, this could be done in 2 weeks, but most libraries take about a month, month and a half to move through this process. It's up to you how fast you can get things done. And as far as data retention, we do not keep the information. The only information I should say we keep is the information provided by the patron during sign-up. Everything else is transactional information and is deleted from our system. We only need it to generate the notices, and we keep it usually 1 or 2 days after that, just in case there are problems. And we're able to have some logs to kind of decipher what the problems may be. But anyway, the length at which we keep this data is configurable, and we provide you with the ability to tell us when we need to delete. And we delete very aggressively. So pricing. For the consortium, and as well as you'll see, the individual site-wide license is $3,200. But for Khalifa members, there's a 10% discount on this license fee. And for consortium, each member library must opt into the service, meaning if they don't want the service, then there's no charge for them, and they won't be part of the rollout or the go live process. They can join at any point after. It's up to them. But the cost is $33 per month per branch. Consortium gets to use one template, which describes how the system should work with the consortium, and there are no permission costs. Now, when we're looking at a consortium, there may be some members' libraries that are bigger than others, and with being in more than one branch. But even within that, there are members that have 1 or 2 large branches, and others are small. So we take that into account when we calculate the fees per branch. Depending on the size, the relative size of those small branches, we could aggregate those into one of the other branches and reduce the cost that you would normally see. That depending if you have 7 branches, but most of the other 6 branches are really small. As long as they add up to around 10,000 active users, you would really be paying only for 2 branches, or $66 a month. And then there's also the scenario where even some of the members themselves are tiny in comparison to the rest of the consortium. We're willing to provide them a discount as well, but that's on a case-by-case basis as well. The individual license was again $3,200, 10% discount. Each branch is $33 a month. And once again, depending on how large those branches are in a given system, we can aggregate those. So, if you have a 2-branch system, but one of the branches is really small, then, we would aggregate that into 1 branch. So you have your own customizing template, and once again, unlimited messages are available to you. Oops. Well, we've come to the end. Tanya, do you see anything from them yet?
I don't.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining. And Tanya, I appreciate your time, yeah?
Sure. Okay. And